Welcome back to Making Art in My Garage, day 35. I'm wearing one of my old Beebosloth t-shirts. This one's, I think, from 2018. There's a skull hidden in the mechanic here. You can see the teeth and the eyes right there. It's based off of an actual sign for a mechanic in San Diego in Point Loma. I know that I have to add some shading to the skeleton, but I don't know how to do it. I'm gonna try to do it similar to how I did the clouds. Just get a more or less dry brush and just work it in there. I was thinking this will be the brush to do it with because it has this slightly flat tip, so I could do this on the canvas. And so I'll be, in my mind, the light is coming from over here, because you can see on the joint there's light coming from here. The eyes have the light spots on top. Here it looks like it's catching some light. So in my head the shading would be more up in here, leaving some kind of brown there, something like that. I don't know. So I'm gonna attempt that. I'm gonna darken in here. I might wait to put black on here. I'm not sure because this is still really wet because this is really chunky paint. I don't know. I didn't really think this through. I could just scrape that off and have it dry quicker. I don't know. I might just do that. I might just scrape it off and then paint black over it. I don't necessarily like that this is all chunky right here and the rest is quite flat. The eyes are a little bit chunky, which they're dry now, which is nice. But I'm gonna get changed. I'm gonna get my paint ready, and then we will begin. I got Mickey the dog in here with me, so if you hear her barking, that's just her being grumpy. Alright, got some of that brown, is it burnt sienna and lamp black. Old looking tube. Pure linseed oil, ground to impalpable fineness, specially prepared for artists and I think it says decorators. What a beautiful tube. Probably full of toxic chemicals. Alright, so just a little worm of black and a big chocolate brownie of brown. And as I mentioned previously, I'm nervous about this because I'm nervous about the contrast that this is going to bring. And I know that there's a lot of shading that needs to happen, and I'm just anytime I don't know how to do something or I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, I get a bit nervous. Looks just like a nice dark chocolatey brown color. I don't know if it needs to be darker than this. Realistically though, this is just brown. It's just a dark brown. Do I need it to be any darker than that? I don't know. I feel like I should add a little bit more black. Part of me says that dark brown just on its own should be fine because the rest of the painting at the moment is quite light. I feel like I'm just playing with Nutella, like a dark chocolate Nutella. Do they make that? Do they make dark chocolate? Anyways, legit just looks like melted chocolate. But somebody told me not to eat this stuff, so I won't taste it. But it does look like chocolate. Anyway, alright. So, I'm gonna have to just bite the bullet and try this out. I think I'll start in in here, just because that is already quite dark. It'll give me an idea of the color that I'm working with here without giving too much away, because it's already kind of dark down here. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna do this whole thing, and then I'm gonna wanna go darker, which is gonna be funny. And instead of this taking one day, gonna take a few days. I think that looks alright. I think we'll make this work. The only thing is that it's probably gonna take a little while just because of the way that I'm applying it. It's my swirly dry brush method that I did for the clouds and part of the bone highlights. I think it's working. The only thing is that it's clearly brown. If I add black to this bone color, I feel like it'll just turn into a weird, nasty gray, and that's not what I want. I just want the recesses to be darker. So maybe I'll do this. I'll give it this nice chocolatey darkness, and then I will just maybe use black on its own to lightly work in the darkest parts. Because to be honest, from where I'm looking, that's a nice bit of contrast right there. That's not too bad. That's kind of what I was looking for. All right, I'm gonna stop talking now and let's get to time-lapsing. I think it looks okay for the most part, but when I start to try and darken certain areas, it just looks too chocolatey. On its own, in the recesses, it looks good, but not trying to shade down the actual bone color. That's where it just looks a little too chocolatey. I'm gonna try and just dry brush just some black. We'll see how that goes, just very lightly into certain areas. And we'll see how that goes. And to fix the chocolatiness, I'm just going to go back with I have some bone color saved here that I like this exact color. I can touch up the chocolate. Other than that, I think it looks fine. I also think that you want to scrape this, or at least flatten it. Oh, it's kind of dry. You know what? This is great, actually. Now I'll be able to apply a little bit of a dry brush of black over that too, and then lighten it up and make it look like ash. That's the goal there. All right, I'm just gonna grab a fresh pair of gloves here. I'm done for today. I'm a little tired. I think the brown looks fine, especially at a distance. I think tomorrow is going to be the day to fill in the background, and then we'll call it quits. It'll be it for this one. Finally, we can move on to something new. Thank you for joining me for day 35, and I will see you tomorrow. How interesting. I'm learning so much.